I know you do. And really want to get inside their heads and understand how they think and why they behave the way they do. Maybe you're confused by what your dog or cat is doing or just want to improve their lifestyle. Makes no difference. We are here for you. Stay tuned because once again, right here, right now, it is time for the Pet Show. America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch. Bring those furry little buddies with you, folks. It is that time, once again, to let the animal analyzing begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Eckstein. So glad to be back with you on YouTube. Even got a new haircut for you guys. Check the coif out. Looks pretty good, right? I went into the barbershop. Yeah, they opened a brand new barbershop in my neighborhood. I am so tired. For years, I lived in L.A., and I would have to go to salons, and I have to go to this, and I have to go to that. I found a real barbershop with magazines and guys with foreign languages and a bottle of, I don't drink, but a bottle of gin and vodka. I'm happy now. Look at the hair. It looks pretty darn good. They did a nice job. Anyway, we are back here live. Glad to be with you back again on YouTube. If you have a question or comment, I'll give you that phone number in just a second. But let me tell you, if you're new to the Pet Show, that's what this show's all about, is trying to help people resolve any issues that they may be having with their dogs or cats, any issues that dogs or cats may be having with them. You know, so many times people love their dogs and love their cats, but they would love them so much more and really enjoy them so much more if they behaved a little bit better. And very often, your dog or cat's behavior is based on what you do. So if your dog or cat is behaving a certain way, maybe it's not your dog or cat's fault, maybe it's yours. Anyway, we're here to help you resolve any issues you may be having. Plenty of time for your calls. I got a few things to give away on today's show. Let me give you that phone number. By the way, I'll take a bunch of questions because we haven't been on YouTube for a while. A bunch of questions on YouTube if you have a question as well. It's at youtube.com/Warren Eckstein, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. If you want to give me a call, the phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870 KRLA. That's 866-870-5752, 866-870-5750. I'm in such a good mood today, even though, yes, I went outside. It's 109 degrees. So I have a small little pool in my backyard. So after the show, I'm going to jump in with a bar of soap and kill two birds. I hate that term, but we'll take a bath in the tub. It's really that hot. My pool is now 92, 93, maybe 94 degrees. I don't know. Way too hot. Even the dog's looking at it. Get in yourself, Papa. We're not getting in there. Anyway, let me tell you what is coming up on today's show. We got a busy show for you today. Chances of me getting to all the topics I want to get to are pretty slim, but I don't have to tell you that. You know that by now, don't you? Again, that number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. So, what's coming up on today's show? I bet you want to know, don't you? First of all, before I even start, if you're a regular listener to the Pet Show, as well you should be, you know many questions I receive about reactive dogs. Reactivity is basically an abnormal level of arousal in response to a normal stimuli. For example, you take your dog out for a walk, a dog that doesn't have this reactive situation, and he sees another dog, he barks once or twice and maybe walks away. But if you have a reactive dog, it's a lot more, and the reaction to the stimuli is really tough sometimes. If your dog goes crazy when he sees other dogs, coming up, we're going to talk about how to manage a reactive dog. Hopefully we'll have time for that today. If not, I will post it on my YouTube channel. This week I'm going to be doing a lot more posting on YouTube in the next few months. So if you're not there, be there. youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Also coming up on today's show, the way your cats behave can indicate many things: stress, anxiety, fear. Coming up, I'm going to talk about some really interesting and puzzling behaviors that our cats may react to and what it really means. A lot of people misinterpret what their cat's behavior is all about. So we're going to take a look at some puzzling cat behaviors. Also coming up, we've talked about this in the past, and it keeps coming up and up. Your dog is home all day long by himself. You're at work, you're shopping, God knows, whatever you're doing, so your dog's home alone. If you're like me, and I'm sorry to say many of you are, you simply wonder what your dog is thinking about. He's home. Maybe you left the TV on. Maybe you just like the channel you have on. Maybe the dog's barking next door. The people are yelling. What does your dog think about? Coming up, I'll explain my opinion in terms of what I think your dog thinks about when you're not around. And it's not always you. Don't have that ego, okay? Also coming up, It's hot, 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 hot. Do you guys know how much water your dogs really need? Most people don't. I looked it up myself. So coming up a little bit later with this oppressive heat spell going all over the place, we're going to talk about how to make sure your dogs are staying hydrated during this really heat situation. As always, plenty of time for your questions and comments. Got some great stuff to give away as well. So if your pet is jumping, chewing, scratching, confused about the litter box, not housebroken, doesn't get along with other dogs, doesn't like some people, or believes if he sees it, he's got to hump it, give me a call. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through to the show. As I said, plenty of time for your calls, lots of stuff to give away. So, the other day I walked in the house and I said to Molly and Willie, Abacadabra. Sometimes I call them Abadabas. So I realized, Warren, maybe people were right about you. Maybe you think about things that other people don't think about. But I think about this. What do you guys think about how many nicknames you have for your dogs or your cats? 1, 2, 3. I bet you. I'm going to make a list next week. I bet you I have 20 or more names that I call Molly and Willie. The twins, the Abacadabras, the Malone. God knows there's so many. So do you have nicknames? How many nicknames do you have for your pets? Give me a call. Maybe I'll send you a great gift. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. And if that wasn't enough to talk about on today's show, coming up in the second hour, the top of the second hour, you will hear my interview with Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields, come on, a lot of people, I remember, we all had a crush on Brooke Shields when we were growing up. She's younger than us, but anyway, the bottom line is this. Brooke Shields has now partnered with a company called Prospect Pet Wellness, and we're going to talk to her a little bit. And, of course, I delved into her relationship with her own dogs and what it's all about. So my interview with Brooke Shields will be coming up the top of the second hour. Don't miss that. It's an interesting interview, and you'll find out how much Brooke really is into her animals. As I said, plenty of time for all your questions, all your comments. The phone number 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Now, I've been talking about this for a couple of months now, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more today. I'm back on YouTube. You see the face behind the microphone. Maybe good, maybe bad, depending. I like the haircut, though. I'm looking at it. The bottom line is this. I am going to be posting a lot more different types of videos with other stuff in them on my YouTube channel. God knows what the future is going to bring. So if you're not following me on YouTube, get there. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. That is the way to get through. Again, how many nicknames do you have for your pets? I bet you I have 20, 25. Easy 20, 25. Now, I'm trying to come up with games for Molly and Willie, because as I said, where I am right now in beautiful Arizona, it's 109 degrees. And it's hot. It's hot. So obviously I'm not taking them for long walks. I mean, if they want to go early in the morning, that's one thing. But where I live, early in the morning, there's just coyotes all over the place and javelinas all over the place. So I have a small yard, and that's kind of where they stay. So I'm coming up with different ways of exercising them. Willie's not a staircase, but Molly is. So I think what I'm going to start doing is, because when I wrote my book, Pet Aerobics, years ago, one of the, I was living in New York at the time, and I wrote about people saying, we can't take our dogs outside, blah, 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 blah. It's too cold. It's too this. Staircase sprints. I am going to start staircase sprints with Molly this week. Molly, I hope you're not listening. So get in shape. Get your leotard out. We're ready to go. 866-870-KRLA. How are you guys exercising your pets in the hot weather? What are you doing? Getting up earlier? Doing it later? I know in Los Angeles it's not as hot as where I am in Arizona, but it's still hot. So I hope you're taking precautions at the same time. 866-870-KRLA. The phone number, 866-870-5752. Reactivity. We're going to talk about that. Hopefully we'll have time to get through that. If not, as I said, I'll post it because it's so important. So many dogs wind up at the shelters or rescues all across the country based on the fact of their reactivity when they take them for a walk. Chases cars, chases bicycles, chases other dogs, goes crazy, gets aggressive. All of these things, so many people say, well, we can resolve it. Now, not every behavior, as many thousands and thousands of animals I've worked with, not every behavior can be resolved. You've never heard me say that before, have you? But every behavior can be improved. That's the difference. If you're looking for perfection, you're not going to get it. But if you have a dog or a cat that has certain behavioral issues that may be confusing or you're not aware of why they're doing it, that's probably what we're going to be talking about a little bit later when it comes to reactivity. That's really an important subject. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. I see all my lovely people are starting to listen to me on my Facebook, facebook.com/ on my Facebook. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. Someone saying, just reminded me if I thought that I could train Crypto, the dog from the latest Superman movie, which, by the way, my nephew had a little part in. For those of you who know, my nephew was Lex Luthor in Smallville for many, many, many years, Michael Rosenbaum. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get to meet. I don't know. I've never been a real big Superman fan. I was kind of like a Batman fan when I was growing up. Superman was super, and Batman was, from my perspective, more realistic. That ought to tell you where I'm coming from. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Let's take a quick phone call from Kathy in Pasadena. Hey, Kathy, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hey, how you doing?
I am doing great today. I feel good. My hair looks good. It's not sticking out. I'm inside with air conditioning. It's 109 degrees. What could be wrong? What could be wrong, Kathy? What can I do?
Well, you can be in Southern California where it's below 70 right now.
Low 70. You know what? I love, I lived in Santa Monica for 25, 30 years. And
did you?
Oh, yeah. And before I lived in Santa Monica, I lived on Long Island. I grew up in a small town called Oceanside, the greatest place in the world to grow up, Oceanside, Long Island.
Long Island.
Long Island.
All right.
I was going to have my Long Island shirt today, but I didn't. And it's amazing to me that there are so many people from Long Island that I bump into. Whenever I do remotes, when I was doing remotes in L.A., I get that. But here's part of the problem. I've never in my life lived more than a mile from the ocean. Except my time in Southeast Asia. There was no ocean where I was in Southeast Asia. But anyway, the bottom line is for the last 5 years that I lived in Santa Monica, every day I would check the reports on the beach. Can I go to the beach? Can I go swimming? Can I do this? Can I do that? And for the last bunch of years I was there, every day it was like, well, don't go in the water if you live to the north of the Santa Monica Pier or south to Marina Del Rey to Mother's Beach. What's the point? I love it. It's beautiful, but I don't know. I don't miss the ocean as much as I thought I would. Maybe.
I love the ocean, but we're inland.
Yeah, well, anyway, I love the ocean too. I love the ocean too, but I just wish I was like a kid again. I love to go in the ocean, and I can't. Anyway, before I run out of time, what can I do for you?
Okay, my cat has been the vet says give him kidney care, and he doesn't like it.
Okay, so your cat is on KD. Is that a Science Diet Health KD? Okay.
Yeah,
now,
and well, he's 30% on urinary care and 70% on KD, but he was all right when we did just urinary care. He ate that, but he doesn't like the kidney care.
Yeah.
So he's losing weight, and I'm worried, and I don't know what to do.
Here's what I want you to do. Obviously, the KD that you're using, and KD does have a different scent than other foods on the market. What I would venture to do in your case, just as a shot at this point, is take the dry KD, put it in with the regular food that he does like, and mix them together, put them in the refrigerator overnight so they kind of pick up the scent of each other. Then when you get up in the morning or later that evening to feed him, what I'm going to recommend that you do is just heat it up for a millisecond, because again, cats don't eat with their mouth, they eat with their nose. So smell's important also. And that's why trying to blend the smell of the food he does like with the food he's not thrilled about may be enough of and plus the heating may be enough to get him to eat again. And if he doesn't, then you may have to talk. There are products on the market you may be able to recommend that are really high caloric that you might be able to put on the other food, but he needs that kidney food. So I would definitely try at this point mixing the KD with the other food, refrigerator overnight, heat it in the morning, see if he eats it.
Okay.
If that works great.
Mix the KD with what he likes, refrigerator overnight, and Well, yeah.
And then just make sure you heat it up for a couple of seconds before you feed it to him, so it smells. When you heat something up, it always smells better.
It always smells what? Bad?
Better. That's my Long Island accent.
Better.
It smells better when you heat it up. I promise.
Better.
Yeah. Okay. God, make fun of the guy who just helped you with your cat. God. Kathy, anyway, I'm gonna drop you. Give me a call. Give me a call back in a couple of weeks. Let me know how you're doing. If you have a question or comment, 866-870-KRLA. I got some of those T-shirts to give away that say "None of my friends walk upright." They come in like 15, 20 different colors now. Sizes small to 5X. I got some of my best-selling books to sell. Calming discs. A couple of air horns. 866-870-KRLA. 866-870-5752. If you want to watch, YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. A quick break, then right back to your calls and questions on Warren Eckstein. Yes, you are listening to. We are back on the Pet Show, back on YouTube. Glad to be back with you guys. Hey, by the way, if you have a question you want to ask me on YouTube, I'm looking at the screen right now. So youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. But you can still call me. I love taking those phone calls. The phone number 866-870 KRLA 866-870-5752. So the things that keep me up, I'm a little strange. I don't have to tell you guys. I think you know that. My mind works differently than most. I have a really abstract mind. So I'm always thinking about animals and their reaction. And I've been giving a lot of thought this week about what our dogs think about when we're not home. I'd love to hear what you think your dogs think about or your cats think about when you're not home. And I put together this. I'm going to post this on YouTube this week. So what do dogs think about? I think, in short, they think about the smells. They think about the movement. They think about routines. They think about you. They think about food. Then they think about more food and more food again. Their thoughts may not be complex, but they're constant. They live in the moment, tuned into every sound, signal, and scent. Their mental energy is spent decoding what it all means in relation to the things that matter most: safety, companionship, and, of course, snacks. I put this together, and I'm going to put this again on my YouTube and my Facebook pages as well. I think it's really, really important. You know, a lot of people are concerned about how their dog behaves. Is their dog come when they call him? Does their dog sit when they tell it to sit? Stay when they tell it to stay? I'm also concerned about that, and that's what I did for, God knows, the majority of my life. But as I get older, and as my mind becomes more, I don't know if it's more focused or unfocused, but as my mind really starts thinking about things, these are things that are really important to me. With the thousands of animals I've worked with, and my listeners the same way, those in rescue and those who just adopted and rescued their dogs and cats themselves, what my dog thinks about is important to me. I don't want my dogs to be bored. I don't want my dogs to be depressed. I don't want my dogs to be anxious. I don't want my dogs to be fearful. So I think it's really, really important to understand or try to figure out what makes your dog, what your dogs think about. But more important than that is dogs learn through association. So if you start using the same word all the time, goodbye, second biggest lie in the world to your dog or cat, goodbye, I'll be right back. You know you're not coming right back. Maybe you should try a different approach. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Or maybe you should always leave your dog or cat with a positive, something very positive to think about when you're going to be getting out of the house. I think that's really important. And I hope you're out there agreeing with me. And does anyone out there want to respond to what they think their dog thinks about or their cat thinks about during the day? Some people in my profession, they all the dog thinks about is food and sleep and food and sleep. You know, for all the years I've been doing this and talking to you guys, and I learn more from you than I think you learn from me, I'm really, really impressed by the reaction I get from pet guardians like yourself, understanding and really delving into their dogs' thoughts. And I think that's real important. I think that's something we can really, really stress, and I think that's important. Also, where are you guys? Nicknames? No nicknames? No one has nicknames? No one has a nickname for their dog or their cat? Come on, you know you do. You all have nicknames for your pets. Busy show today. I'll be interviewing Brooke Shields coming up in the second hour. And one of the reasons I wanted to interview Brooke is I'm not a big celebrity person. You know, I've trained their dogs, I've worked with them, and I've done shows with them for umpteen years, you know, I'm not going to go through a list, but many of them. To me, I'm more interested in their pets than I am in their behavior or themselves. And it was interesting when I did a little research, and you'll hear in the interview, one of the things when I asked, I told Brooke I loved her. Not loved her, but I said that. Basically, she used the word, she felt guilty as a dog mom. One who says to me, I feel guilty as a dog mom, I got to like that person. I got to trust that person. There's a person who gets it. They know that their dog is legitimately part of the family and not just the family pet. Again, the phone number, 866-870-KRLA. A lot of stuff we're going to talk about on today's show. Hopefully we'll have time. You know, I'm a little short at the second hour based on the fact that the interview with Brooke, but is no one going to admit that they have nicknames for their dogs or their cats? No one out there is going to admit it. Come on, guys, I know you do. Or does your dog name Duke and you call him Duke? You know you don't. You know it's Dookie, the Dukester, Mr. Luka, the Duke Man. You know you have all those nicknames. I want to hear your nicknames. Give me a call. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. We're going to take a break in a minute or so, but still coming up on today's show, some really interesting topics. And I really put my head together to help you guys out. For example, the way your cats behave can be really an indication of things that they may be going through, anxiety, fear, stress. So we're going to take a look at some puzzling cat behavior and what that really, really means. And we'll delve into that a little bit. So if you have a question about your cat's behavior or your dog's behavior, now's a great time to give me a call. And we're going to also talk about this, and hopefully I'll get to this. If not, I'm going to do a really long post on it. I actually spoke to a good friend of mine, someone you've heard me talk about on this show many, many times, about a reactive dog that she's working with. And it was interesting. It was an interesting conversation, and I adore this person. But the rescue she works with, they sent over a trainer to a reactive dog, and they used a chain collar and jerked the dog around. That's not going to prevent reactivity. That's going to create more reactivity. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, if you take your dog out for a walk and he sees another dog and he turns into Cujo, or you take your dog out for a walk and he sees a cat or someone on a bike and he reacts that, you know, a normal reaction is fine, but sometimes it's more of an overreaction, and that's where the reactive situation comes into play. So we're going to take a look at the reactive dog. Basically, reactivity is an abnormal level of arousal from your dog when you're taking him for a walk. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on today's show. Also coming up, and let me ask you guys a question. How much water do you think your dog needs? In this hot weather, you know, where I am, it's 109. It's in the 70s or 80s, and in Los Angeles, maybe higher in the Inland Empire. How much water does your dog really need? Do you know? Any idea? We'll talk about that coming up. And also, I'm still waiting to hear from you guys. What's up? What do your dogs think about during the day? And no one's going to admit nicknames. I can't believe no one is admitting to me nicknames. Well, let's see. Someone just wrote in. She has my cat, Woody. He's called Woodstock, and my dog Grady is Baby Grady. But Willow, Teddy, and Sam have no nicknames. Come on, I need more than that, guys. No one? Come on. I know the people are up there. Nicknames. I've never lived with a dog without any nicknames. Let me leave you with this, and then we take a break, and we'll come back to you. I'll get to your calls and all. 866-870-KRLA. I wanted to talk about it last week. We weren't on YouTube last week. The question came up is, okay, Warren, we know you've adopted hundreds of dogs, if not thousands of dogs and cats and pigs and chickens over the years. The question came up in an interview. What was the largest number of dogs you've ever adopted in one day? The largest number of dogs I've ever adopted in one day. Was it 1? Was it 2? Was it 3? Was it 4? Let me do this. Let me take a quick break. When I come back, I'll give you the answer to that. We'll find out from you. Come on, I'm going to give you some more time to come up with some nicknames. Let's go. Nicknames. Easy for me to say. Nicknames for your pets. 866-870-KRLA. 866-870-5752. And you're absolutely right. Old world barbershops. That's where the world took shape. I was born in the Bronx, grew up in Rockaway part of my life, which is Queens, New York, and from there I moved to Long Island. Every single barbershop I went to was run or owned by someone who just came over recently from Italy. They always had a bottle. Anyone know what? My wife didn't know. Anyone know what anisette is? Anisette, the drink. They all had anisette on the bar. Girly magazines all around. That's the old school barbershop, but those were some serious discussions that were had there, and I finally found one. That's right. No more no more massaging my head, no more doing this, no more. Take out the clipper and cut away. Old school barbershops. Anyone else want to talk about that? Give me a call. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Quick break, then right back to your phone calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is the show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number, 866-870-KRLA. So many people passed away this year. Theo from the Cosby Show. I got to know him a little bit when I was doing Regis and Kathy Lee for 15, 16 years. He was kind of a regular guest on the show. Interesting guy, really nice guy, loved animals. We would often talk about animals together. So many losses this last week. It's really tough to deal with. Plenty of time for your calls. People are starting to admit now that they have nicknames. Someone just wrote me a note that, where was it? Tiny, I think this was Joy, Tiny Boy, I know Tiny, her pit bull, Bubbles, Teeny Tiny Boy. Also, there were other ones what was the other one that came in? I'll find it in a second. It was interesting to me, though, that there are so many nicknames that people have for their pets. I don't even remember some of them. Over the years, I had a Skylar, was Bluey because you remember I rescued Skylar from the streets of L.A. He was covered with blue paint, so we called him Skylar Blue, and Bluey, the Blue Man, Bluester. There were so many different names. How many nicknames do you have for your pets? Give me a call, 866-870-KRLA, or let me know on YouTube. Hey, before we get back and take some of yours, I want to talk about this. Is really important. And, I've been doing a lot of thinking this last couple of weeks. It's 109 degrees where I live. What else do I have to do? Okay, I'm going to be sitting in the house thinking in front of my computer. Look, I've been looking at old stuff that I got boxes and boxes of stuff that I'm going through. The memories are coming back. But anyway, I want to talk about this because this is really, really, really important. And perhaps I'm the only person that really focuses on this. But hear me out on this one. When we talk about training our dogs, and we do often, most trainers focus on how the dog is behaving, and of course, that's important. But even more important is to focus on your behavior. The biggest mistake people make when training their dog is not being in the moment. Mindfulness can improve your dog's training incredibly. Watch your dog's behavior, but don't react right away. That's important. Somebody has a dog, they're working with their dog outside, the dog reacts a certain way, and right off the bat, they want to correct the dog. Watch the dog for a second and react the right way once you figured out why the dog is doing that. It helps you gain perspective and the right response at that point. Stay centered, stay calm. It sounds like I'm talking about people, and I am talking about people because your response to training is just as important as the dog's response. Stay centered, stay calm, be flexible, and try something a bit different based on your dog's feedback. One of the not so much anymore, but one of the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? One of the biggest criticisms I have, I don't often criticize trainers, but one of the biggest criticisms I have, because everyone out there is a trainer right now, is the lack of flexibility. Once you've been a professional trainer, behaviorist for many, many years, you understand the concept of flexibility and how you have to be flexible when you're working with the dog to get the response that you're looking for. So if something's not working for you, try something a little bit different. Watch your dog's feedback and you'll find out what they want to do. And reduce stress in you and your dog at the time. Sometimes even trainers, imagine that, even trainers get stressed out. If you're stressed out, that's not the time to train your dog. If your dog is stressed out, that's not the time to train your dog. Sit down, meditate, whatever you need to do. Listen to Enya. I don't care what you need to do to calm you and your dog down, but that's when you train, when the dog is calm. Better communication between you and your dog. I've heard people say to their dog, sit, 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 sit. And they get angry and angry and angry. We're just making the dog more anxious and more nervous. Here's the secret. Be mindful and in the moment It works for the dog, and take it from me, it works for you at the same time. You know, of all the years and experiences I've had, I think the greatest trainers, behaviorists, and rescuers I've worked with are those that were able to adapt. They could adapt, understanding that this dog's behavior is based on what I may know, or that dog's behavior based on what I may know. However, the real interpretive, the people I studied with in Europe, in Brussels, and in Germany, in Frankfurt when I was going there, the people I studied with, they knew their training approach might have been a little bit more assertive than my training approach, but they understood that flexibility. They understood the need to make those changes. And so many times I've seen trainers and behaviorists working with the dog over and over and over again, and they're not getting the response. Well, if you're not getting the response, maybe what you're doing over and over and over again isn't really working. That's the difference. Again, be in the moment. Be in the moment when you're training your dog. It's so important. The term they use is mindfulness. It's a little out there for me, you know, as a New Yorker. Mindfulness is a little too Santa Monica, and I love Santa Monica, but I don't use those terms. Just focus on your dog, focus on your training, and if you're not ready to train your dog, don't. And if someone ever says to you, this is how you need to do it, and it doesn't sound right to you, chances are it's not right at all. Again, the number here, 866-870-KRLA. Phone's a little slow today, pretty unusual here at the Pet Show. So if you have a question or comment, I do have some of those amazing T-shirts to give away. It says, none of my friends walk upright. And I got to tell you, I see those T-shirts all over the place now. People love them. It sparks conversation. And people from rescues who wear them, it sparks conversation. They start a conversation, maybe find someone who wants to adopt a dog. So I have a few of those T-shirts to give away. And I'm telling you, they come in black, navy, red, charcoal, dark heather, more colors than I can imagine. Again, the number here, 866-870-KRLA. So if you follow me on Facebook, this week I got up early one morning and I said to Denise, you know what I feel like doing? And she goes, what? It's always pretty strange. I don't know how she puts up with me. Do you know what I feel like doing today, Denise? I feel like going and hanging out with some butterflies. So after she looked at me a little crazy, and she said, are you hungry? I said, yeah, I'd love a bowl of farina. Anyone know what farina is? I talk to people in Arizona. They think I'm crazy when I say farina. I grew up on farina and Retino when I was a kid. Anyway, I said, I want to go see some butterflies. And she goes, okay, Warren, what are you talking about? Well, in Arizona, just outside of Phoenix and Scottsdale, they have a big butterfly place where they have butterflies from around the world, all flying freely. And it was really interesting. And I got to spend quite a few hours with the butterflies. And I got to tell you, I've said this before, but people don't understand that my color blindness is not that gray color blindness where you know, it's green, whatever. I don't see colors. I do not see color, so don't make fun of me if you see me wearing something strange. Yet all of these butterflies, Denise was amazed, and you can watch the people and the children in awe of the colors these butterflies have. It's just absolutely amazing. And so I am now become a butterfly person. I always loved butterflies. I caught them as a kid, and I feel guilty about that now. Always let them go, but I caught them as a kid. What amazing animals they are. What amazing animals. And there's so much that we can learn from watching them. Just watching the butterflies, just watching them is a calming effect. You know, who needs Xanax or tranquilizers when you can sit around thousands of butterflies and just watch them go around? As a matter of fact, this place, I forget what it's called, the Butterfly Pavilion, I don't know, whatever. They have people that have signed up as members, and they go there 3-4 times a week to start their day. And I got to tell you, once you start your day hanging out with butterflies, nothing the rest of the day could bother you. We'll get to you in a second, Helene. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-575. See, my friend Ken just wrote to me, cream of wheat. It's cream of wheat. See, there is cream of wheat, but there's also something called farina. Cream of wheat is one thing. Farina is, well, someone help me out here. Anyone else from New York or the Bronx? Anyone else know what farina is? It's not the same thing as wheatina. I promise you. It's different. All right, Alex, I got you. Alex, do you know the difference between farina and wheatina? I figured that. Anyway, let me take a quick break before Alex throws something at me. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA. I feel like I'm doing a food show here. 866-870-5752. Farina and wheatina, not the same thing, I promise. I'm Warren Eckstein, and let's take a quick break, then right back to your calls. The Pet Show on Warren Eckstein. During the break, I looked up farina, and there's wheat farina, rice farina, corn farina, and organic farina. I think the farina that I'm referring to is the rice farina because it's all white, and the wheat farina is kind of like white and black specks. So it's the rice farina that I grew up eating. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away. Let's take a few phone calls right now. We are going to go to, you know what? Let's go to Helene first. God, everyone's calling from New Jersey. Where's my LA people? Let's go to Helene in South Jersey. Hey, Helene, welcome. Helene, welcome to the show.
How are you, Warren?
I am doing fine. Finally, an East Coaster. Do you know the difference between farina and wheatina?
Be honest with you, I never thought about it.
Okay. Well, that's what I think about that. Anyway, what can I do for you, Helene?
I'm calling about the nicknames.
Yeah, how many nicknames?
They just sort of come to me.
What are some of the nicknames you've used?
A cat already has a name like an older cat. I like the Jewish tradition of naming for the ones who have passed on.
So, in other words, you in the Jewish
named my cat for a cat who has passed over the rainbow.
Well, that's interesting that you said that because in the Jewish religion, and I'm not a real spiritual person, but in Jewish religion, you get what's called a Jewish name, and my Jewish name comes from my great-grandfather. So you're right; it comes from a family. I'm not going to tell you what it is, although it actually means wolf, which is kind of interesting that my Jewish name would mean wolf. Do you have how many cats do you have now, Helene?
Well, I'm older now, so I'm only down to 2.
And you have a lot of nicknames for them?
Well, these 2 I had nicknames when they were little, but now I use their adult names.
Well, good. Listen, I got to move on. I'm gonna have to drop you. You keep doing that, and just you keep with these older cats. I love my listeners; are the best. My Jersey listeners, my LA listeners. Let's go to Heidi. Hi, Heidi. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Warren. By the way, wheatina is the instant farina.
I think you're all wrong. I think you are all wrong. I'm telling you, farina is rice, wheatina is wheat. That's the difference between farina. They might all be called for. Listen to the conversation we're having on the Pet Show. They might all be called farina, but I grew up on the white rice farina, and when I married Denise, she would make the wheat tina, which is kind of a black and white speck. Anyway, beyond that, what can I do for you?
Okay, well, I have a beautiful blended breed I adopted 4 years ago, and all of a sudden, since January, she will only eat her food out of my hands. I have to get on the floor and feed her. She will push her bowl all over the kitchen floor and, bang the bowl. And so then I get on the floor and I'll feed her by hand.
What type of bowl do you feed her out of?
It is a metal bowl.
Get rid of the metal bowl. I like metal. Get rid of the metal bowl. You might want to use a china bowl at this point, something a little bit different. Before you put food in the bowl, what I would do is I would rub your hands all over the bowl so your scent is strong. Obviously, it's there already. And as long as you keep doing what you're doing, why should she change?
I was wondering if it had something to do. She had surgery back in January, and that's when it all started.
Okay, so when she had the surgery, what type of surgery was it?
She had stones removed from her bladder.
Okay, so she might associate the food. There might be a lot of things going on. I would try this. I would try taking her food, splitting into 2 dishes, putting them near each other, same amount of food, not more. Give her a day or two. Is she underweight at all?
No.
Okay, give her. I know, Mom, you're feeding her by hand. Put the bowls down, stand up straight, don't feed her by hand, give her a couple of days. If she's hungry enough, then let her eat. If not, I would have another conversation with the vet.
Okay, great.
Give her a hug for me and say hello to everyone. I used to spend a lot of time in Kearney, New Jersey, an awful lot of time in Kearney. Anyway, say hello to everyone in Jersey. I appreciate the phone call. God, we got to take a quick break, then we'll get back to your calls. We've got a whole hour to go, but the top of the next hour is going to be an interview with Brooke Shields. I think you'll find it interesting. But right now, I want to tell you about my... I'm going to get Irene up there. Just a reminder that we're going to take a break at the top of the hour. When we come back, you'll hear the interview between me and Brooke Shields. Now, the interview is only 10 minutes long, so between 12 and 12:10, you can listen to the interview, or 12:15. Right after that, I'm going to get right back into it. I'm going to be talking about puzzling cat behavior and reactive dogs, and I'll take more questions. So after the interview with Brooke Shields, we still got a whole other 50-some-odd minutes to talk, so don't go anywhere. Listen to the interview with myself and Brooke, and then we'll come back to your calls as well. Let me see if I can get you to Irene real quick. Hey, Irene, welcome to the show.
Yes, hi. My daughter, we rescued a cat from the outside 5 years ago, and she's amazing. Her name is Lulu. But I wonder if it's time for me to get another cat so she can have a companion.
Has she ever been around other cats?
I guess my daughter rescued from a bunch of cats, a lot of bench cats that were outside. Okay,
yeah, well, that might have been a bunch of strays. It might have been. Here's what I would do. I would have your daughter and yourself work with a rescue or humane organization, and the reason I say that is because this way they can bring in cats and see how the cats are going to react with your cat, and then you can make that decision based on that. So working with a rescue or humane organization is probably the best way to do it. Chances are the cat's going to say, you know what, I've had enough of you, Irene. I want another cat in the household. So I would definitely think a companion is a great idea, but I would do some work with rescue and humane groups to make sure it's a perfect match before you make the ultimate decision.
Okay, she's very sweet. Okay.
But listen, Irene, don't go anywhere because I love you. You're going to make another cat happy. I'm going to put you on hold, and I'm going to actually send you a copy of my cat book, my best-selling cat book from Random House. How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want is on its way to you. Okay, so we're going to break for the top of the hour. You'll be able to hear the interview on YouTube. I spoke with Brooke for about, I guess it was about 10 minutes and a few seconds. She partnered with a company called Prospect Pet Wellness, so you can hear the interview. It's kind of an interesting interview. I'm not the typical interviewer. They sent me questions, what I would use, none of those questions. I said, she's coming on my show. I'm going to ask her the questions I want to ask her, and that's what we did. Great interview. Really loves her animals. I'm going to want you to listen to that, and when we come back after, I guess, 15 minutes after the hour, I'll be back answering all your questions back on YouTube with you. Again, the number, if you want to go to call in after that, it's 866-870-KRLA. And if you want to watch YouTube, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Let me take a quick break, then back with Brooke Shields right after this, 866-870-KRLA on Warren Eckstein. On the Pet Show, you're going to be listening right now, coming up to an interview I did earlier in the week with Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields is involved with a new company called Prospect Pet Wellness. I did an interview with her. I focused primarily on her relationship with the animals. So here's the interview between myself and Brooke Shields. Then we'll be back to your questions right after the interview's over. Good morning. Glad to speak with you, Brooke. Glad to meet you. I think we met once before when I was doing the animals for Regis and Kathy Lee many, many moons ago.
Oh, wow.
I think you were a guest with me, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, let me tell you, but before we even start, I'll tell you when I fell in love with you. I read an article just the other day, and it was a quote that you made. It said, when my dog Pepper got sick, and I quote, I have mom guilt. Right off the bat, I knew this was a person I would get along with because realistically, to people like you and people like me, our dogs and our cats, they're part of the family. I'll give you a brief example. Years ago, when I first started watching you, every dog in America was Duke, Duchess, and Queenie. Now it's Sam, Harry, and Saul. Sounds like a poker game on a Friday night. People are accepting their pets as part of the family. And that's why I'm so glad to talk to you about what you're involved with and what you are doing, because wellness is so important. We love our dogs. We love our cats. Anything we can possibly do to make them better. But before I get into that, with the crazy life and hectic life you've lived, have animals always been an important part of your life?
They've always been an important part, but for a very long time, it was just cats because the way my schedule was, I never had any consistency. And so I had at least the cats, if they had each other, I could, have someone come and pet them and feed them and stuff, but it was different than with a dog. And so I really thought, oh, I can never have a dog. I can never have a dog. And then when I was in high school, my mom started fostering dogs. And that was great because we always found homes for them. And I was more consistently in school. So, that was like my first foray into dogs. And when I was in college, I had 4 cats. And then I went through a while where I didn't have a pet. And it took a real toll, I think, because there was something just that I knew I was missing. And when I met my husband, he said, let's, get a dog. And it just changed everything because there was such unconditional love from these pets and in such a stark contrast to the world in which I, habitated as a career, which is very judgmental and very fraught. And, here was this sweet, sweet being that just was so pure. And so it really sort of changed my life. And that was Darla.
So many people, Brooke, that I've worked with over the years in situations like yours, entertainers, celebrities, models, whatever. And the one thing I found out is their relationship with their dog or their cats, whatever it may be, gives them the one opportunity they can have to be themselves. Don't have to worry if their hair is right. Don't have to worry, look, the makeup. No, they don't care. They take you the way they are. And I believe that's why so many people, successful people like yourself and busy people like yourself, are really gravitated to have this passion for the animals they live with, because the one thing in their life that is totally non-demanding. Love me, hug me, kiss me, feed me, clean up my poop. We'll be friends for life.
Right. And, like I was saying, I could go into another room for 2 minutes. When I come back, our dog now acts as if I have been gone forever. And she's just a big welcoming committee. I was like, I just went outside to put the garbage out. And she's like, yeah, but you're back. You're back. You're back. She's back. She's back. She's back.
Yeah, they totally take advantage of us. They really, really do. One of the things I'm excited about, I've been doing this radio show for a couple of weeks, actually 45 years consistently. and one of the things I've learned is that when it comes to passion, taking that passion and making it really worthwhile is what life is all about, whatever that passion may be. There was a lot of years that, for example, I ate a lot of ramen because no one ever heard of an animal behaviorist when I first started many, many years ago. In fact, my parents said to me, maybe we should get him some help before he goes out and pursues this career. But the thing is that the relationship now between yourself and Prospect Pet, I was really intrigued by that because I looked at their website and I've read about you, and having worked with so many companies over the years, I read between the lines. Working with animals, you have to read between the lines. And I saw that this is a company that shares with you that same passion to try to keep our animals as healthy as long as we possibly can. And with some of the items I saw, for example, hip items and other items, which I'm very familiar with, it's not just keeping them alive longer, it's giving them that quality on top of the quantity that good items like Prospect Pet and yourself are offering.
I think that's what impressed me the most about Prospect Pet was that, I came to them sort of in a vulnerable stage because Pepper had gotten sick. And so I started really asking a lot of questions. We met through friends. I mean, it was very serendipitous. And they started talking to me about their product, about the farm in Maine, and about how they believed that animals deserved the same type of healthy, clean, conscious, which is, they are clean and conscious, but the animals deserve to be treated the way we even treat our bodies. And it's something that in a bizarre way, I had never really thought of. I was one of those people that gave my dog kibble and that was it. And if she liked it, she ate it. And that's what I was told was fine. And then sometimes, there would be, oh, this is salmon and this is fish and whatever. And it never occurred to me that there was an ethically sourced version of that, or that it was wild Alaskan salmon, not just salmon. And, we think about that stuff for our own bodies, but they don't want any common allergens or toxins or any additives in their food for their pets. And I would start listening to them and learning more about the products and about the importance of hip and joint mobility. And, I thought about it for myself, having danced for so many years and having problems with my hips and knees. And I never translated that to my dog. And then it wasn't until Pepper got sick that I thought, wow, I've been a bad mom. Like I should have taken this more seriously. I treat my other babies, my human babies. I care about them and do all this. Like, why should she be excluded, And so it just got me really interested in the brand and the dog's skin health and coat health. And, I'm so excited to learn about how dedicated they all are. And I just wanted to do anything I could to help get their message out. I'm the conduit to all of their hard work and good work and the product.
Well, the other thing that interests me as a behaviorist, a lot of people assume, well, they'll take a look at Prospect Pet and the products are amazing. I'm pretty careful about who I talk to and what comes out of my mouth. And I looked at it from the wellness perspective. But as a behaviorist, with all the years behind me, a lot of people don't realize that behaving well and a good self-image and good self-esteem are related to how you feel. So very often, if I'm working with a dog that's depressed or anxious or suffering for whatever reason, it's a combination of making sure that they're physiologically healthy. And if they're physiologically healthy, then I can come in and say, okay, what's the problem? What is daddy or mommy doing to you to make you crazy? So this is part of the intrigue that I felt with Prospect Pet and talking to you is the concept of not only feeling good physiologically, but the mental awareness when a dog or a cat feels good, no different than we're feeling on top of our game. We act better, we feel better, we do more, we're more energetic. And I see with the items, whether it be the grooming items or the dental items, which I'm a big proponent of, the bottom line is that I'm glad to see that a company and yourself kind of hooked together to get the message out there to the general public, because quite honestly, they might not be aware of items like this.
And it's just a matter of educating them. I was talking to a mom the other day of kids, and she said, my children are only as happy as I am. As a mom, you usually think, oh, I'm only as happy as my saddest kid, right? But what I realized was what she was saying was really right. Like, if I'm happy and I'm healthy and I'm taking care of myself, I'm more fun to be around. I'm better with them. I'm more patient with them. I'm more fun. They love it. My dog is the same. If I am anxious or if something happens and I go, oh, like this, she instantly goes like, oh God, what? And she comes over to me and she just like sits on near me or nudges me or something. And it's like, she's taking on my energy. And if I'm anxious or if there's angst between the kids, then they get concerned, and they take it on. I had a dog, Darla, who I lost a baby, and it was such a horrible experience. And while it was happening, she wouldn't leave the foot of my bed. She'd stay at the foot of my bed. She crawled up like an army crawl, would lick my face, and then crawl back. She did this for 14 hours straight. She did not leave me. When I had my first daughter, she stopped sleeping in my room the day the baby was brought home, and she slept right in front of her door.
Well, Brooke, they take on the personalities of the people they live with. So if I spent more time with your dog, I'd probably know more about you than you'd probably want me to ever know. But it's really true that they do mirror. In fact, I have a T-shirt that says, none of my friends walk upright, because I kind of believe that as well. I want you to keep me posted as you progress with this, because I'm excited about it. As you know, I've been around for a lot of years doing this, and I've worked with many, many different companies, and it takes a lot to get me excited lately. And I get my pitches every day. And when I saw this and I saw your involvement, then I read a little bit about you, and the quote, the 4 words, I have mom guilt, made me your best friend. Thank you guys. Anytime I'm here, you know how to contact me. Brooke, you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Appreciate it.
So that was Brooke Shields, an interesting lady. I've, been watching her, since she was we've all been watching her since the Calvin Jeans ads going back then. But one of the things that came across to me when talking to Brooke, and the company is a new company or relatively new, and I'm glad she's hooked up with them. But the thing that impressed me more than anything is that Brooke's sincerity, just about her own pets and about her own life and the children and the way her dogs react and the fact that she considered herself a dog mom. All that made me want to talk to her. And I don't do that many interviews on the Pet Show, but I hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully we'll hear from Brooke in the future and let her know what other things she's doing for the world of animals. Anyone who's helping animals is good in my book. Anyway, here's the deal. We've got a whole rest of the show to do. I got David, Jason, and Rachel on the show. I got Susan, who spoke to me a year or so ago about a Tibetan Spaniel she rescued from China. Very, very fearful. He's slowly becoming more trusting, but she says, when my little lion, you got to bear with me. When someone says little lion dog, I think of a breed called the Lauchin. But you have a little lion, he can't relax except when he's on the floor. Let me give you a little tidbit of advice here, a little bit further. Find a real comfortable position for him on the floor. Put a mat down, a carpeted mat, whatever you want to put down where he hangs out. And when he's really comfortable with that after a couple of weeks, take that mat and put that mat on the couch. Take that mat, put that mat in the car with you. Let him associate that mat with only positive things. And then when you eventually put it on the couch, maybe it'll make a difference. We may have to go further. You have my number, but that's a good start. Finding that mat, comfortable on the floor, taking that mat, comfortable in the car, taking that mat, comfortable ultimately on the couch. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Let me do this. Let me take a break. When we come back, we got David about a rescue and some problems. We got Jason about doggy dementia. And we got a new Frenchie that wants to get along with a cat. French dog, that is. A new Frenchie that wants to get along with the cat. So we'll take all your calls, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Quick break, then right back to your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Phone number 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Just a reminder, if you're watching the show or listening to the show on YouTube or on the radio, I'm advising you, for the last couple of months I've been doing it, I'm advising you there's all kinds of things going on in the world. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, that's where I'll be sharing a tremendous amount of information and videos. So go to youtube.com, subscribe. It's free, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. I'm giving you a heads up. I'm going to be posting a lot more stuff there. And if you're a fan of the Pet Show, and hopefully you've been enjoying it for as many years as I've been doing it, I'll be doing a lot more on YouTube, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Let me get to the phones here. Let's go to David in Oak Hills. Hi, David. Welcome to the show. Hey, David. David, are you there, David? I guess David disappeared.
That is Joe.
Hey, David, how you doing?
Hi, this is Joe. Let me help you.
Oh, Joe, David called me. This is a radio show.
Yeah,
David.
I was on hold. I'm sorry.
That's okay. What's up, David?
Yeah, we own a rescue. We're in the high desert area. We're in the midst of actually shutting things down. Due to lack of any kind of donations coming in, everything has been cut. Warren, you have to understand, we're the people in the trenches. We pull dogs from the deserts that people are coming from L.A., Riverside, and dumping out here. We're helping the shelters out as much as we can. A lot of rescue partners that we work with around the United States where we can actually transport animals or fly animals out, specifically dogs. We're working with animal shelters, the Spirit Animal Shelter, Victorville Animal Shelter, Apple Valley Animal Shelter, and Barstow, which are the highest kill rates that we have here in California, other than some other states, other locations. But
David, let me respond to you so we don't run out of time. First of all, I admire what you guys do. Your group, what's the name of your group? David, can you hear me?
Yeah, 7 Paws.
7 Paws? The 7 Paws. Okay, I'm writing that down. All right, let me tell you, yours is the type of group. It's a nonprofit group. Yours is the type of group that my Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund really tries to help. You know, the big organizations, they get a lot of money, they do great work, but it's the small organizations, whether it be in the deserts of California or the deserts or the mountain, whatever, the small mom and pop groups all across America, they do the bulk of rescue work. And my Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund, what we do is we're kind of like the United united way. I'm on the radio, so I have the ability to raise some money. And when I raise that money, we send it out to other nonprofits. As fast as it comes in, we send it out. So what I'd like you to do is, if you have someone that can write a form and a proposal and send, just go to the website hugsandkissesanimalfund.org. By the way, if anyone out there wants to donate, that's where you go. hugsandkissesanimalfund.org. You go there, David. You'll see there's an application where you can apply, and hopefully apply the application. I've talked to you on the phone, and hopefully we can get at least a small donation out to you to keep you covered for a little bit of time.
Okay, sounds great.
I
mean, our main thing right now at this point, I don't want to run out of time. We can no longer spay and neuter at this point. We're stagnant. We're at that stop. Our finances are depleting so fast, only because of everything that's happening. Plus, the amount of food that's coming in is not suffice enough.
I think
we're getting there quickly.
It absolutely breaks my heart because, when I get off the air here, I do my national radio show for Radio American Armed Forces Radio, and I hear the same story over and over and over again, and it breaks my heart. So that's part of the reason my Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund is, for the last couple of months, has been asking for my listeners to help out. There are so many small organizations like yours across the country that do the bulk of the work, rescuing the dogs from the deserts, the forests, all the place, and they need help. So fill out that application, send it to the Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund, and we will do whatever we can to help you out, David. Just mention on the application that you spoke to me on the phone, okay?
Sounds great. My name is Joe, by the way.
Oh, Joe, I have David on the screen. So, Joe, make sure you say Joe, not David, on the application. We'll send it out to you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate what you guys doing. Thank you. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, bye.
That's what I mean. So you hear me talk for the last couple of months about my Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund, right? These are the people you help. When you help me, these are the people you help. I prefer, and I'd love to see you all go to the hugsandkissesanimalfund.org. It's a 501c3. Go to the website. You can donate. These are the groups that I help. You can donate via PayPal. You can donate via your credit card. But let me do this, because someone said to me this week, Warren, we like to send a check or a money order. Where do we send it to? Listen carefully. I'll read it slowly. You can send a check, money order to hugsandkissesanimalfund.org, hugsandkissesanimalfund.org, and here's the address, 24654. That's 24654 North Lake Pleasant Parkway, Suite 103, number 107. It's a long address, I know. It's posted. We'll post it on the website as well. Peoria, Arizona, 85383. So if you can help me out, do that. Just go to the website. It's all the information there. You heard the call I just had with Joe, right? And my wife Denise spends 24/7 working on the Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund. I'm not going to stand here and beg you, but if you can, that every single penny you donate to the Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund goes directly to the small mom and pops all across the country. No one takes a salary. The majority of the expenses are paid out of my pocket. And it's these organizations I get pitched from every single day, 20, 30, 40, all across the country. We send as many as we can. And to keep that going, I would appreciate you checking out hugsandkissesanimalfund.org and making a donation or sending a check to that address as soon as you can. Hey, the number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let's go to Rachel. Hey, Rachel, welcome to the show.
Hi, I have a little Frenchie bulldog, I think. My daughter went to jail, and I inherited him. So she
I'm
gets
sorry to hear
out.
about your daughter, but I'm glad the dog found a good home.
Okay, I can't hear you.
I said, I'm sorry to hear about your daughter being incarcerated, but I'm glad the dog has found its grandma to take care of it.
I don't know if I'm glad about that, but I have a cat that's had the rule of my property, and now he doesn't come in the property. I have to feed him out on the street, and I just feel like he can be trained to leave her alone.
Well, what you need to do is make the cat feel comfortable again. Make sure that when the cat is around, you have the dog a little separated. What I would do is I would start feeding the cat out of several different dishes in the yard to gain her comfort back in the yard. When the cat is in the yard, I would not have the dog out there now. But what I would do is I would take maybe a stuffed animal or some of the scent of the dog and put that outside so the cat becomes real familiar of what the dog smells like. Smell is the way they recognize and accept each other. So little by little, the cat may be more accepting. Also, what I would do, can you hold the cat? Does the cat play with you?
He's never been real friendly, but he will let me hold him a little bit.
Okay, what I would do is before you hold him, get some of the dog scent on your hands, be really pleasant, really patient with him, and little by little he will come around. It's not going to happen overnight because we don't know what his reaction with. He's probably been outside his whole life, so he's been chased by other dogs or God knows what. But again, make sure when he's around the little and French bulldogs are great dogs. Make sure he's calm when he's around the dog, and there's no reason the dog and the cat won't get along. Anyway, let me do this. I know you're in a rough situation. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to send you a copy of how to get your cat to do what you want. Make sure, Suzette, that we get that book out to her, How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want, and that will help you. There's a whole chapter in there on first pet psychology, how to get a dog to get along with another dog, how to get a cat to get along with another cat, how to get a cat to get along with another dog. So it's a tough one. It really is tough. But it's amazing to me how many parents. There was a point in my life, and where my mom for a while only lived maybe 2-3 miles away from me, and she had this great garage. She always kept the car in the garage. And then when I got out of the service and I started doing what I do, the bottom line is I took over her garage, even though I didn't live there. And I had all types of kennels in there, and I filled the garage with all these rescue dogs. And every time I brought a different rescue dog over, it's enough, Warren. It's enough, Warren. Then I'd come over and I'd find my mom in the garage, hugging and kissing and probably making them a meatloaf. But that's just the way she was. So, yeah, there's so many parents or grandparents, as I like to call them, that take over the responsibility when they have a single child that adopts or rescues a dog or cat. Should be their responsibility, but sometimes grandma and grandpa have to take over. Anyway, the phone number 866-870-KRLA. Kathy, I'm going to try to get to you. Jason, I'll try to get to you. But when I come back, I do want to spend a couple of minutes on reactive dogs. I think it's important for me to give you some tips on it and some ways to resolve it. There's no 100% cure, but there's 100% getting better a little bit at a time. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break, then right back to your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening to The Pet Show. I want to take a little bit of a deep dive. I don't often do this, but I want to take a little bit of a deep dive into reactive dogs. And the reason for that is I get so many questions about people that have reactive dogs and they don't know what to do with it. Some trainers are too harsh. Some don't know how to deal with it either. So let me take a couple of minutes and talk about it. By the way, I will probably do a video and post this on my YouTube channel this week again. I know I sound like a broken record, but there's reason behind me saying this. You should be subscribing to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. I'm going to be sharing a lot of stuff there, and you're going to want to be there. Just take it from me on that. Anyway, let's talk about reactivity, and then we'll get to the phones. Reactivity, and this is exactly what I'm going to be putting up. Reactivity is an abnormal level of arousal in response to a normal stimulus. If your dog is reactive, buy a harness. Any tightening of a leash is restrictive to a dog's airway, which will only heighten its anxiety. A harness removes the possibility of pressure on the neck and also helps to rebalance a dog that is lunging forward. Now, there's something called a no-pull harness or a no-pull halter. How do I know about those? I was one of the people involved with putting it together, 30 years ago. You just want to make sure you get a real good quality one. So you don't want to use any type of collar or around the dog's neck, any type of restriction that's just going to make it worse. The tighter it gets, the more reactive your dog's going to be. Have a plan. I mean, literally, have a plan knowing what you will do. Turn and walk away. Keep the dog moving. When your dog responds to perceived threats, will allow it to remain calm. Part of the plan should involve reminding yourself to relax. I spoke to someone the other day, and I can hear it in their voice. When the dog is reactive, they react. They know what they want to do, but they react, which is going to cause more of a reaction on the dog's part. Now, listen to this. This is by far the most important thing. Be familiar with the signals when dogs begin to become uncomfortable. They may lick, yawn, and sniff. As they get tense, they may actually exhibit changes in posture, such as becoming more upright, tucking their lower body backward, or stiffening up. Staring is usually the last move before a more intense reaction. Retrain your dog, walk away from the tense situation to a comfortable distance, and do some training at that point. That's number one. But let me put my touch on this. With consistent identifying the trigger is the most important thing. What does your dog react to? Another dog, a person, a bicycle, a skateboard? With consistent and frequent training, your dog will start to associate the trigger with something positive. So when you come across something that the dog would normally react negative, that's where he's going to get a lot of positive attention. That's even a situation where I recommend using your dog's favorite treat. And with luck, eventually, they will see another dog and look to you for a treat or a toy and praise that's more positive in the way. Relax and mind the leash. Your response to reactivity can have an impact on your dog's behavior. Try to keep tension out of the leash and don't forget to breathe. A reactive dog's emotional experience of fear, stress, or arousal is very real. Our reactive dogs, no matter how frustrating their behavior can be resolved. I know there's a lot I put there. Now I'm going to do a little bit more when I do the YouTube. But so many people call me up and their dogs get short walks or the walks are not enjoyable and they hate taking their dog for a walk because of the reactivity. Let me tell you guys, reactivity is probably one of the most common questions I get asked, but it's also one of those situations that can be resolved. And here's my problem with it. People tend to give up. There's nothing that can be done. I tried a little bit of this. I tried a little bit of that. So your dog will be a little reactive here and a little reactive there. Continuity, know the triggers, know the reaction, practice some breathing. I always do. When I was training, I would always practice deep. I'm not a yoga person, but I would practice deep breathing before I would train, especially if I was working with a dog that was more challenging. And believe me, Warren has worked with some pretty challenging dogs. So reactive dogs, I'll put that up on YouTube sometime this week. But remember, follow the advice I gave you. Little by little, they will come around. The thing to remember is never, never, ever give up. Because certain types of reactive behavior, if not checked, will wind up hurting the dog, and the dog's going to wind up in a situation that he doesn't deserve to be in because their guardian didn't take the time to resolve the issue at the beginning, that reactivity. Anyway, the phone number here, 866-870-KRLA. Let's go to, who's been holding on the August? Let's go to Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I could not be better. What can I do for you?
Okay. I have two things. One is there's a product called Rough Greens that's supposed to give vitamins, minerals, stop itching, etc. You add it to your dog's food. Yeah. Do you know anything about that product?
No, there are many, many products out there. I had my Hugs and Kisses supplements for, 30-some-odd years, and I stopped them. And I stopped them. I know everyone's so upset, but you want to make sure that if my name goes on something, your dog's going to get the quality it deserves. And I couldn't bank on that since it was a Swedish company. I've heard of Rough Greens. I don't know that much about them. Just so you all know, in the back of my head, I'm looking for a company that I can bring on the show, a supplement that is complementary to what my Hugs and Kisses was. I'm looking for that company. If they come around, they do. If they don't, I'm not going to recommend anybody. I'm not going to recommend something I don't know about. So I don't know that much about Rough Greens. I will check it out and see, as I've been checking out a lot of different companies. Where is it manufactured? Do you know?
I don't know that.
Yeah, I would check out where. check out where it's. You heard it on. Check out where it's manufactured, who it's made by, who stands behind it. I would find out all that information and send me an email if you can. And I'll check it out a little bit further for you.
Okay. And then I have one more question. Thank you.
Sure, go ahead, Kathy. Sure, go ahead.
A friend of mine, I have a Sheltie, and God love them, they love to bark. My Sheltie has been pretty much very little barking. But a friend of mine played with her and encouraged a lot of barking. And now when somebody comes in the house, she barks. So I tell everyone, just don't look at her, don't pay attention to her, and it will stop. But is that the best thing we can do, is just to continue to do that?
No, her barking is because she's excited now to see someone, and she got a reaction when she did that. What I would do is find a specific toy that the dog loves. When people come over, as soon as they walk in the house, hand her the toy, let her calm down, then take the toy away, and she gets it the next time. At least it gets over that initial excitement of the barking. Now, here's the thing. The dog is barking because she's happy. The dog is barking because she's excited. Other trainers might tell you, I tell the dog, no, shut up, be quiet, whatever. It's like telling your kid not to hug you. The dog's excited to see that person. But let's take that excitement and gear it in a different direction. Okay, so if she's barking excessively at that point, find that one item she only gets when people come in. It's put away till the next time, and that should help you with the situation. Sheltie, you know what? You're right, though. Shelties, I remember doing a segment on the Today Show years ago, and I was doing a segment how much I opposed anyone that would debark their dogs. Anyone that would do that would absolutely make me crazy. And the bottom line is, I found that statistically, because Shelties are barkers a little bit, that people would be barking them at a higher rate than other breeds. Totally ludicrous, totally no reason. Education, socialization, and training. Leave your dog's vocal cords where they are. That's where they belong. Anyway, follow my advice. You know what, Kathy? You sound like such a lovely lady. I am going to put you on hold, and I am going to send you a T-shirt that says, "None of my friends walk upright." Great call, by the way. We're always looking for a quick cure. People are always looking for a quick cure. Excessive barking, if you had any idea how many times I almost got into battles, almost fisticuffs, with people that, well, debark the dog. That's the way to do that. Debark, a declaw, de this, de that. No, there's no need to mutilate. Educate. That's the way to go. I just don't get it. I don't get where people are coming from. Our dogs would never tell us to be quiet if we were excited to see them. Now, again, let me go back on what I just told Kathy. If the dog is excited when people come over and the dog is barking for 2 or 3 minutes, woof, 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 I think that's normal. I think that's happy. It's their way of greeting somebody. It may have changed from the way it was to the way it is. But if it's going on for 5, 10, 15 minutes, then it becomes more of a something that should be deterred. And the way to do that is exactly the way I recommended it to you. But in terms of what I believe in education. I don't believe in harsh. Oh, you will. I don't have to go through that. In the harsh training and the dominant training and this, that, and the other thing. Our dogs and our cats are with us for such a short period of time. Educate them. Let them enjoy their life. So your dog barks once in a while. My dog last night got a little sick and threw up a little bit. Am I going to get angry at the dog because he threw up? No, I'm going to get up and wash the stuff. That's what I'm going to do. We have to give them the same respect that they give us. I've never had a dog tell me to shut up. I've never had a dog tell me to be quiet. I've never had a dog tell me to stop talking. I've never had a dog tell me to stop enjoying myself. Why can't we be the same? I know. There are trainers out there pulling their hair. You got to get tougher, Warren. You got to get tougher. Let me just take a minute here. I would like to see any one of them work with the dogs I worked with in Europe, in Southeast Asia. The Schutzen, the Polizeihund, the ring sport dogs. They probably couldn't even hold the end of the leash. So I would challenge them. But the bottom line is this. Now, this is years later. I'm talking to you. You have a pet at home, a dog or a cat. No need to be tough. No need to have Rin Tin Tin or Lassie. A good, healthy, happy dog or cat makes everyone happy. It makes you happy. It makes the pet happy. If their behavior is a little off in certain ways, that's what I'm here for to help, to change that behavior. Whew. Quick break, then we're going to get back to the phone calls. But let me just remind everyone, I'm pushing this again. If you're not on YouTube with me, be there. be there. I'm telling you. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. I don't make a penny on it, but I'm telling you, you need to be there. 866-870-KRLA. A quick break, and then right back to your calls. We'll go to Jason right after this on Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. To my childhood Mighty Mouse to save the day. Hey, we're back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. I'm going to get to you, Jason and Lynette, in just a second. I see that my friend Ken on YouTube wrote, I wish, you can call me Warren. He says, I wish Mr. Eckstein, I don't know who that is, but I'm Warren. I wish Mr. Eckstein and The Pet Show was a podcast. Why do you think I've been telling you guys to go to my YouTube and subscribe? We're going to be expanding into some things in the future. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you may miss out. So youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. And in the not too distant future, perhaps there will be a Pet Show podcast, I promise. Let me get back to the phone lines here. Let's go to Jason in La Quinta. Hey, Jason, welcome to the show.
Well, hi there, Warren. How are you?
I'm doing pretty darn good. What can I do for you, Jason?
Well, I need your input to try to figure my dog out. I've had her to 4 different vets. She's approximately 10 years old. She's a rescue, multi-poo, all of 16 pounds, and always been a little finicky and always give her high-end foods. About 1 month ago, she decided to go on a hunger strike, and I thought that was particularly odd because it's always difficult to get her to drink sufficient water. A year ago, she had a cardiac event, and she's on 2 heart medications that have to be given with food. And one's a diuretic. She's got to have lots of water. And I have tried literally everything under the sun to get her to drink or to eat. I used to add water to her food, which allowed her to get sufficient water. But she's still problematic. And
okay, well, let me give you the rule of thumb. Here's the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is this. A dog should have at least an ounce of fluid for every pound of weight. An ounce of fluid for every pound of weight daily. Now, let's go over your situation, okay? You've gone to the vet. You spoke to the vets. The vets know the situation with your dog, okay? Have they recommended, in terms of heating up the food, have they recommended any no-salt chicken or beef bouillon for this soup to put in the water? For example, many times I'll have a dog that's refusing to drink water for whatever reason. The first thing I want to do, number one, is make sure that their gums and their teeth are in good shape. Very often, the refusal to eat is based on tooth pain, and we know that 85 to 90% of dogs and cats will develop some type of periodontal disease. So once we know that the teeth and gums are okay, we have to approach it differently, but I think that's something you should have checked. Also, when a dog stops eating, very often, it's due to the fact that the food smells different to them. Something about it smells different to them. That's why I would have this conversation with your vet. Can I add some no-salt bouillon, beef or chicken, to the water to encourage the dog to drink a little bit more? If the dog, in fact, is drinking that, then you can take some of that liquid bouillon and put it over their food to encourage him to eat as well. The other thing that's really, really important, is there a favorite food that your dog absolutely could not live without?
Well, there used to be, but her eating habits literally change from day to day. Yeah. What's good today, she may turn her nose up tomorrow.
Is she underweight?
No.
Okay, so if she's not underweight, she's obviously getting the caloric intake that she needs. I'm more concerned at this point with the drinking. Obviously, she's eating enough to maintain the weight. I'm more concerned about the water intake. So again, speak to the vet, but I think he's going to I think he's going to recommend, or at least he'll agree with me, no salt chicken bouillon, no salt beef bouillon, no salt vegetable bouillon, what I use, and sometimes that's all that's needed to encourage the dog to drink water, and it's really important that they're drinking enough water at this point. There are medications on the market that will help with the intake of water, but I don't think we have to go there yet. Run this by your the vet. Give me a call back in a week or two. Let me know where we are. But in terms of the food, before you feed her, heat up the food just a little bit in the microwave for a few seconds. And if the vet says it's okay, use some of that bouillon on it before you heat it up to encourage the dog to eat because of the way it's going to smell like chicken or beef. Hope that helps you out a bit there, Jason.
Much appreciated. Thanks.
Well, thank you. You give me a call back. In a week or two. We'll go a little bit further if we have to, but there's always a reason. And the other thing I was going to suggest is if we have a dog that's not eating or taking medication, very often we can go to a compounding pharmacy and have stuff or supplementation or something made with the dog's favorite food in the world and put that into the food to encourage him to eat. But the water is so important. Let me just run this by. I was going to talk more about it this week. But here's the critical. How much water does a dog need to drink? They figure that a good rule of thumb is that a dog will need an ounce of fluid per pound of weight because dogs only perspire through their nose and a little bit through their paws. During the heat wave, keep an eye on your dog. If your dog is lethargic, dry gums, ropey saliva, he may be dehydrated. So check that. Make sure they get enough water. That's critical. Phone number here, 866-870-KRLA. If we run out of time, and there's a good possibility, we always do before I go to this break, write this number down. This is the phone number for my national show for Radio America and the phone number for my Armed Forces Radio, which is the same show. This is the number. You start calling it about 5 minutes after 1, 2 minutes after 1. Write this number down. 877-725-8255. 877-725-8255. You know, it's the same type of show, but I take calls from all around the country. LA will be my first calls based on the fact that the show starts at 6 minutes after. If you call it 3 or 4 minutes after, you're the first one through. Again, that number, 877-725-8255. A quick break, then we'll try to get Lynette in here. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. Left. Lynette is calling from Rialto. Lynette, Lynette, you with me?
Yes.
I only got like a minute or two left, but you have what kind of dog and it's licking a lot? What type of dog is it and how old?
She's a pug-poodle mix. She's about 8 years old. She's really friendly, high energy, and she attacks my face with her tongue a lot, and it does make me laugh, but why does she do that, and how can I get her to tone it down just a little?
Well, first of all, there's a couple of reasons dogs lick. Dogs will lick, number one, if they want to show affection, if they want to explore the environment, if they're getting attention, or because they enjoy the taste. It can also be self-soothing. If the dog's a little stressed or anxious, when a dog licks themselves, instinctively they go back to when they were born. The first thing the mom did to calm them down is to lick them. So they associate licking in a positive way. Excessive licking, however, can sometimes be an underlying medical cause. However, from what you're telling me, this is an 8-year-old dog. I'm assuming he's pretty healthy?
Oh, yeah, she's real healthy.
Okay, so licking sounds to me. And what do you do when he licks you?
I usually laugh. And then
in other words, if someone laughed when I was doing something, I continue doing it. If the licking is bothering you, here's what you do.
Yeah.
What's your dog's name?
Sammy. It's a girl.
Oh, Sammy. Say, Sammy,
yeah.
I love you too. I love you too. I'm not licking you back. You're licking me because I know you love me, and get up and walk away. As soon as you overreact to the fact that you're licking, as soon as you start laughing, the fact that he's licking, you're reinforcing that behavior. As long as he's medically okay, it's probably a sign of affection, calming himself down, or maybe you're anxious and he's trying to calm you down. But most dogs lick for a reason. Usually that reason is affection, environment, seeking it out, or checking it out. In the other cases, it could be a medical issue, but it sounds to me like it's more of a mommy created the problem issue with you, Lynette, and I really appreciate that phone call. Call me back in a couple of weeks. Let me know when your face is nice and dry. We are just about out of time. Again, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. I'm encouraging you. You hear me talk about it every week. There's a reason for my encouragement, but if you have a question right now, you can call my national show starting about 2 minutes after 1. That phone number is 877-725 825-8255. And please, I need your help. Go to my Hugs and Kisses animalfund.org. You can donate there with PayPal or your credit card, or you can also check it out. There's an address there you can send a check to. I need your help for people like Just Call Me from the desert where all these animals are being abandoned and the small mom and pops are doing the work. So check out Hugs and Kisses animalfund.org, Hugs and Kisses animalfund.org. Again, the phone number for the national show, 877-725-8255. Until next week, give all your pets a big, tremendous hug and a kiss for you, one right between the ears for me. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you for once again listening to The Pet